This, let me go back here and let me go back here and okay. Well, we're trying this again, and let me know if anybody sees this, but it's an interesting topic, I think. We lost our upstream here, and that guess that happens here in the country. That's the downside to this is we lost it. Delia, do you see anything yet? Okay, we're live. Is it not buffering? Yeah, maybe she'll get it here and let me know. The topic of the day. Hello, Mystic Mountains. I'm sorry. Is it not buffering now? Let me ask you. That'd be great to hear. The topic today, and I said it earlier before I get into the topic, is I feel for the families that are impacted by the tornadoes that are happening across the south, southeast, and Midwest. What'd you say, Delia?
Not right now.
It's not buffering?
No.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Mystical Mountain says we're good. I do not know why that happened there, but it's terrible. But my heart goes out to those. I've certainly been in a part of a few tornadoes myself in my life. They're not fun. Fortunately for my family, is it never had a direct impact, but certainly community members that I've been around have had them. So let's get down. Let's get down to the business of it. And the issue I think that I've been having on this, it's buffering a little bit. The issue I've been having is the pre-programmed stuff. So we'll get down to it. Different sets that I actually use on the trap line. Do we have sign? That's a big important part of it. It can vary due to terrain. I do like to make sets that are visual when I'll come back to me on that. I like making sets visual when I don't know exactly where the coyotes are going. I think it's important to go ahead and make sure that if they can't smell it, let's just say that the wind is wrong or whatever. Well, let's go ahead or they're on the wrong side of the wind. And hey, Dale, how are you doing, buddy? We got to make sure there that the wind, that we have a set that's visual to help bring them in. I'm going to show you guys some of that. And there's a water cat. So why don't I use only one set? I guess I could. I know there's many years it seems like that I make the same set over and over again, and a lot of that just depends on the weather. If I have a lot of sign where they're telling me where they're going to go, you guys see me that I do a heck of a lot of trail sets and that type of a thing. Earlier in my life in a different location, but it's happened to me several times in, say, South Dakota and different things where I didn't necessarily have the perfect sign. So there I was doing a lot of RJ sets. I was doing a lot of sets that actually attract. Hello, Roy. It attracts a lot of animals to get them into it. So let's get down to this type of a location. This spot was up in Montana, and yes, that's Craig O'Gorman's pickup truck. While I was taking instruction up there, but we found sign at that location, and but again, we also found antelope, and we found mule deer tracks. So instead of being able to squeeze in a nice trail set or mafia set at that type of a location, you notice how Craig chose to put in a big hole set. That Billingsley brand, yep, very good. They put in a big hole set to attract them. You create a one-way entry. That's in kind of a coal shell type of a hill. Not too bad to dig in, but it's visual. That's the big thing. It's visual. Even in that kind of an environment, we can see the black dirt that's turned up. We get into another set. This is a set that I did up in, sitting here in South Dakota right now, Logan. Okay. Hello there, John. But the big hole sets are very valuable when we're talking about getting the coyotes to see the set. And again, these are very cattle-friendly type of a sets to where you dig them into the side of the hill. I have found many coyotes that I caught in my traps where they actually dug, if the earth digs good enough, they'll actually kind of just cave up themselves inside of the hole if they're on a stake and that type of thing. But this is a good set. And the big thing about it is you see how I took the spade and it's narrower at the bottom. That's, you want to go ahead and make sure that as appealing as that hole is, it's also guided very tight in there. So the coyotes have one way to come in. We have another type of a set that I like to use when it's permissible to do it. And this is a pup scratch set. Actually, I think I put a steak prairie dog on it, and I took a big nail and I just nailed it into the bank. But that is a very visual set. With all the dirt that I churned up there and everything, that set just pops. Now that set is actually on a drag, and that drag, so it's not a catch circle, but I have caught other animals there, so they did open up the dirt a little bit here for me. So those are great sets to use when you're looking for some visibility. When you don't have, when you have sign, or say you don't have sign, but you like the location, it's hard to beat any of those sets that I just showed there. They all have a pop to them that says, hey, at least come over here and investigate. I think there's a lot more value. And something I learned is when I was digging all these holes, and I had a student of mine, and I had a badger hole nearby, and he says, well, why don't you just use that hole? And I looked up and I thought, well, I don't know why I'm not either. So I started using badger holes, the ones that were kind of backed up. There's no badger actually living in them. It wasn't cleaned out. Now, all of a sudden, that badger hole become a hot spot for me on the trap line. If you have badger holes or already excavated holes in the area, use them. I think they're great, and if you can drag them, even better. Let's get on down. I showed this set a week ago, but this is kind of a modified RJ set. Look, it's a deep hole. Deep down to the, I had a lot of deer in that area, and the cornfield dug very well. So I made a very visual set, and at the same time, I can keep my deer out of it pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. So those are kind of my standard type of holes that I like to make. And again, the reason I do so much digging is I like to make the set visible. I think that's important. When the coyote isn't exactly going in the range of the odors or anything like that, the visual can also help catch them, and it's very appealing to the animals. And I've also noticed when I started digging the badger holes out, it was amazing how many more, we're going to call them more adult coyotes. I don't want to call them alpha coyotes. Coyotes I caught. So those particular, when I was able to do those types of sets, that worked even so much into my favor. So now when I do RJ sets in the ground's digging good, I don't mind starting out this wide. I mean, get it nice and wide and big, and then narrow it down. As long as they can't enter the spot without it, you're in good shape. And again, guys, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Let's get on to a different type of a set. Now, this is I kind of like this set a lot, especially when I catch a female coyote or especially a pup female coyote. You can see where other coyotes you see the white bits of fur in the grass there in my remake. But I like using a coyote foot, and I actually like using the hind foot as much as I do the front foot, but I use that as a lure holder. That was a tip that Craig had showed me. many years ago, and it works very nice. You know, you just take the coyote that you just killed, cut the foot off, bury it, and then use it as a lure holder. It works very good, and it's kind of eye-catching to some degree, you know. So there's a lot of odors there. Well, we get the benefit of the odors of the previous coyote there as well. Another set that I like to do that I learned from Craig, and that's the trench set. And it was remarkable how coyotes will actually walk all the way down that trench. The only thing I had a problem here, and if you look at my guide sticks to the left, they're actually set back a little farther because I actually had a little scratching going on. So the set is actually a little closer. The trap is actually a little closer to the hole. And I figured that the way as unclean as I am, I think some of the odor got on the sticks, so that created an issue for me. But in the end, it paid off, and I was able to get the coyote at that location. But to make a good trench set, that hind foot will have urine on it. Yeah, that's right, and that's a good point, Ottercat. But these sets works really good when you find that good guiding, like I have here. Now I'm going to show you another type of a trench using a T-bone in the back. This is a real rough type of ground, and this set actually goes for about 4 feet in length. It's guided right there. It's right there at the. My dog is up against that clod of dirt to the right, and it had some weather on it and that type of a thing. But I was actually doing an ADC job at the time, and that's why you see so much green grass and that type of stuff. Let's get down here to a different type. I'm using some coal shell here. Now the trap in this case is actually turned with the dog facing the T-bone. And I put a little piece of scat. I know I didn't have a lot of scat with me, but I put this scat right on the end of right next to the dog, basically, of the trap. And then from the point of, Logan's, but anyway, it's about 12 inches deep from the point of the corner of that stick, kind of acting as a little guide, back to the actual T-bone with some lure on it. Let me answer some questions from Logan. Do you use many snares in trail sets when you are further north? Frozen ground here makes it a pain to dig. I just started setting them a lot more and really like them. Caught a bunch of dogs on them. Any advice? I tell you, let me jump out of this. We'll come back. I'll answer that question, Logan. I use a lot of snares up in the Dakotas, and I liked them a heck of a lot. The big thing about the snares for Richard and I, the old farm boy trapper type of a thing, we would hang one snare on a trail. Now here's my secret to snaring. It's not a big secret, but this is how it kind of works. If it's frozen ground, but I don't have any snow, I'm probably staying with trapping. But you give me a good 4 to 6 inch snow, then all of a sudden I really don't want to trap anymore. I'll spend the next couple of days pulling my traps, especially if the forecast says it's going to stay cold like that. I will then, around the third or fourth day, I will start hanging snares. And what I do is I go down and, hey, Seldom, how you doing? Hello, Paul, too. But I'll find the deer trails, and they'll always be in the bottom of the draws, generally speaking, if you have bottom draws. Otherwise, they might be on your hedgerow fence lines and that type of thing. But I'll actually go right down the trail that the deer opened up, and every one of them I've been on, I found coyote sign on it. The first day or two, the coyotes seemed to be wandering and doing that type of a thing, and that was... there's really no pegging them. I come back and I hang 16 snares around day 3 to day 4, And then I go to the next draw and the next draw and the next draw. We'd hang around 300 to 500 snares, and we were averaging close to 14 coyotes a day. So that's how I snare. I hope that answers your question there, Logan. Let's get on back to it again. So we ended up this one. This trap is actually turned with the spring levers to the left and to the right. The scat is guarding the end of my dog. My trap is right there at the edge of the tall grass. It's somewhat cut down, laid down, mowed there. So I like the trap kind of just in the commitment area. The other type of a set I like to use is the Duff set, and when I'm in soybean fields, again, we come back to the visual side of it. These sets can be as much as a foot tall, and they're very valuable. They're my favorite scent post sets when you don't exactly have sign, but I love these types of sets in soybean fields. And of course, the last type of a set that you guys see us do, this is Timmy Hochstetter, a good student of mine, a good friend, and I'm showing him how to do the trail set, mafia set, whatever you want to call it. But when you have tracks going right down that trail, well, at the head of an erosion especially, you just can't beat that type of a deal. So I promised I was going to show the O'Gorman Soaker Hose set. I'm going to show you right now. It's a wonderful set. Now understand, this can be a prairie dog. This can be a dirt hole. You can do any of these. And any of these sets. These are nice in erosion type spots. Craig's going to put it. I found some pictures that I had digitized a long time ago when I took instruction from him. So let's get down to it here so you guys can, I want to make good on it. So this is the Soaker Hose set, and that's Craig's equipment there. He's using the High Plains Plow Wolf model, and you see how he cut a trench back into the bank, and he takes a dowel rod and he fits it over the soaker hose. Now that acts as your lure holder, but this could be a stake prairie dog. It could be a lot of things. It could be a dirt hole back in there. But this is the beginning of the set. And then now this is the set, a little close-up view here. Craig's putting in, and he wears gloves, but you notice how he has the trap face to the side, but he's got his don't step here sticks, the way he puts those in. In other words, he wants them to stop just short of that. And this, to the right, you see a little bit of a trench there. That trench is made for, and I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to go back one. We have a hillside right here. So in other words, water can run into the trap. So what Craig does is he takes the back of his hammer and he cuts out a trench on each side there. So that's why that's there. It's to act as a ditch. It's act as a rudder. So it tries to divert some of the rain water from the side of the set. But the most interesting part about this is the trap placement. He's a good, I'm going to say he's a good 15 inches from the actual attractor. But that's, Craig's caught a lot of coyotes on it. And the last thing I'm going to show you is how he finishes the set. That's Craig to the left. We have some scat. You notice, let's go back one. You can see the sticks where they are. And, but he puts that scat kind of on the spring lever right there. I'll come back to it there, but he's got the scat. That's also giving him something to think about. Now think about this. A coyote, he's going to put some urine on all that set. He's got it weatherproofed to some degree and remember, Craig's going to keep his traps out a long time when he puts out the line. And he just adds a call lure. I'm going to come back to me, and I'll come back. He adds some call lure to the soaker hose, and you could even take your soaker hose and kind of put them in a glass, in a jar with some lure in them, and have them and they will soak up. They will soak up those lure odors, and all you got to do is slide it onto the dowel rod. You can use your own, you can go cut branches if you want. I like to use hedge. I got hedge here in Kansas, or locust or something like that. You just need that half inch. You got a half inch soaker hose, so you just need a half inch dowel rod. So let's get back to it again. But I'm going the wrong. I'm gonna go down a little more. I'll come back here to the trap. So you have everything set up, and he's going to add another stick here by the dog itself. This is a Bridger number 3, Canadian modified, O'Gorman Canadian modified. But he's going to add a stick to the right of it. He has the set complete. He has it weatherized for the rain, and that's the actual soaker hose set with a little call lure, some scat, putting some urine on the set. So that's the O'Gorman soaker hose set. And if you guys are still with me, I have a bonus set here for you that Craig did. I didn't announce it, but if you're still watching, you're the winners here on this. And not that it's a big deal, but this is actually Craig's scent post set. It looks pretty familiar to some degree, doesn't it? He likes being 10 inches back and that type of thing. He actually just put a little bit of gland on top of that scat, on top of the scat, and he put the some urine on it. So that's Craig's scent post set. This is kind of not a mafia set, This is a scent post set that Craig made, and it's a neat to see. There's a lot of ways to skin that. Cat. And does anybody have any other questions for me here? Otter Cat says soaker hose is a wonderful lure odor. It sure is. Logan, it's good to hear. It's hard to know how many to hang per section in an area. You say 500 to 600. Can I ask about how many acres you were roughly trapping? I know we were on about 20,000 acres, okay? To give you the idea of that, Logan, we were on about 20,000 acres. We were on the Standing Rock Indian Reservation. That's where we were. So the section we were on, we were covering an awfully lot of ground. So to give you that idea. But I did notice that coyotes in the wintertime tend to want to go low when it's snow. They'll want to get down to where the bunnies are and that type of a thing. So if you guys don't have any more questions, we'll end it here today. I will quickly here just show you the set again. Again, he's using his drag and putting his chain in there. You notice how he's got his got some ribbon. I forget the name of it, but he's got surveyor tape, and he's got that on the drag. So this way, when the coyote runs off, it'll drop somewhere and hopefully telling you the direction he's going. There's the set prior to the finished cover. Finally, we come here to the completed set that's been dealt with as far as the winterization and complete. And finally, a different version of a scent post set utilizing the scat. Logan, Roy, that's wonderful. I'm glad to have all of you. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. Dale, thank you very much. I appreciate you too, buddy. So you guys have a good one. I'm glad I finally got this thing done. What an embarrassment.